Hello everyone, I am Dr. Anil Shetty, a professor and consultant. So today we'll start with the module 1 for design for manufacturing. So in this module we will be dealing with first the basics of design, material selection, okay, what are the guidelines for design for manufacturing, and then we move to some problems. So this is an example of how many single parts goes in a product. In a single piano there are more than 12,000 single parts, but if you go to the automobile there are more than 15,000 parts. Similarly, if you go for uh, transport aircraft, it will have more than 40 lakh parts. Okay, I'm just talking about 40 lakh individual parts. Okay, so you can see the complexity. And if you go into the Boeing 747, it is having more than 60 lakh individual parts. So what happens is, as these parts are produced by different producer or suppliers, okay, they should come to a single place and get assembled. So it is very important, all the tolerance between this, all the parts should match each other. Okay, then only it can be fitted properly. So where there comes the design for manufacturing knowledge. Okay, so some parts may be manufactured by some other method, let's say casting, some may be pure machining, some may be die casting. Okay, some may be metal, some may be plastic, some may be foam. So all they should get fitted to form the complete final product. Okay, now this is the one of the example where you can see the how they have maintained the tolerance. So this two are two different parts, but if you see the amount of tolerance what they have maintained, they look like single parts. So this is possible with the machine also. Okay, what type of tolerance your machine can give. Okay, what type of method of manufacturing you follow. Okay, for example, if you are going for pattern manufacturing, 1 to 2 wooden patterns made of wooden is allowed. Okay, so if you have a wooden pattern, even 1 or 2 tolerance is allowed. But if you go for a purely metal, you may have to go for maybe 25 microns to 50 microns accuracy. Okay, now this is a 6-axis machine where they have manufactured these parts. Okay, so you can see at the end the amount of tolerance. In this case, the upper one is having a dia of 19.9985, the down one is having a dia of 20.0004, okay, millimeters. Now before going in more detail, let's see design for X topics. Okay, so whenever as a designer you have to take care all these things first. While designing itself, you have to consider whether whatever you are designing, can it be manufactured. Okay, from you should have a manufacturing idea. Again, also you should have a production idea. Okay, what it means is you should know which method of manufacturing you can use, and secondly, at what rate you can do the production. So your manufacturing method may be simple, but if the production rate is not what you expect for that product, it may not work out. And next is, when your product is designed, manufactured, it should be very ease of assembling, because assembly itself is a very costly affair. Okay, so you have to see to that the cost of and the time for assembly as less as possible. Also during the design phase itself, you have to see to that when the product become obsolete, okay, how it can be recycled or disposed. That is also important in today's world. And the last is design for life cycle. So you have to design the product for its life cycle. For example, each product will have different life cycle. So for example, car, you can last for 15 years as per the government rules. Okay, after that you have to renew the pass. Okay, but if I consider a simple pen, it may be having a, once you start, it may be having a life of, let's say, 2 months or 3 months, that's it. Okay, Also, you have to consider the design when you are doing any prototypes. Next is when how to gather the information for design for manufacturing information. Okay, now this can be done by different ways. First is you have to sketch, drawing, production specification and design alternatives. Okay, now for example, you can get the sketch of the whatever the product you want to produce. So once you get the sketch, you have to do the production drawing. Okay, now this production drawing indirectly again depends upon which type of production you are using. Either you are using in this case casting, or whether you are using a machining operation. Okay, also which type of assembly you are planning to use in the future. Next is estimate the manufacturing cost, production volumes and ramp up timing. Okay, they all are very important. For example, if I have to reduce the manufacturing cost in the car, it is a very mass production. Okay, so I can reduce very easily. But similarly, if there is a aeroplane manufacturing, it will be a batch, or even in a, I can say in some cases it is a job production, so the cost of even one specimen will be high. So here in general it says, if I consider the costing and the time spent, a labor will is 4%, overhead charges are 24%, the material is around 72%. So this graph shows design for manufacturing method, how I go for the manufacturing cost and other things. First is estimation. You estimate one X manufacturing cost. Now you have let's say you got the manufacturing cost as 1 lakh. Now how I can reduce? One is reduce the cost for the component, reduce the cost for assembly, reduce the cost for supporting production. So these are the three parameters which will add it to the cost. We can divide the cost into three. So in case of a component, can you redesign? Okay, without compromising on the quality and the for the intent for which the product is produced. Can I reduce the time and cost for the assembly? Can I reduce the overall labor cost to manufacture it or supervise it? Once you do all this, again this all parameters will impact your design for manufacturing method. Then you recompute your manufacturing cost, and if you are happy, you can go ahead, or you have to redo this process. Now when you are doing the design for manufacturing method, the first thing is estimate the manufacturing cost, reduce the cost for component, assembly, supporting, and then reconsider your design for manufacturing decision on any other factors if they are involved. Next is, what are the parameters which will affect the manufacturing cost? So this slide gives, if it is a manufacturing system, there are different costs. For example, equipment cost, tooling cost, raw material cost, labor cost, purchased components. These are the standard purchase components, bolts and all these things. Your energy consumptions, okay, supplies, supporting supplies, okay, services, okay. Suppose a person is working on the machine, some 10 labors on 10 machine, you need the helpers to remove all the burr and other things. Okay, whatever the waste is produced, how you dispose it, that also goes as a cost. Okay, then all this will add to the manufacturing cost of the final finished product. So in general I can say manufacturing cost may be defined as sum of all the expenditure for the input of the system, that include purchase components, energy, raw material, etc., and for the disposal of waste produced by the system. Also, this is a graph which shows the different components of the manufacturing cost. So that can be divided into component cost, assembly cost and overhead cost. So component cost is, if you are using the customized component, okay, so you need the raw material again to process them, and then also need the tooling. If you are using the standard, again the cost comes down. So as in my last lecture I told, if you are using a standard nut and bolts of let's say M20, you can go ahead with the standard, your cost will come very heavily down. So maybe let's say it comes to 50 rupees only for one M20 nut and bolt arrangement. Okay, but if you want to custom for 19.88 or let's say 20.02, you should get the raw material processes. Again, you need the tooling. A simple threading, internal threading or external threading tooling itself will cost you around 5 to 6,000. Okay, so if you are producing very limited number, it will not work out. And second problem it will come is when any failure happens at the customer place, you have to again remanufacture that part, nut and bolt simple, and go there and fit it. Okay, that will be the downtime for that machine, and that cost will get added to the supplier again. Okay, so if you are using a standard component, you can just give him a call and say, okay, you can change the M20 nut and bolt arrangement, so you can buy from anywhere whatever the grade he needs, okay, as specified by you, and then he can do it himself. Now during the assembly, whatever the components you have designed, during assembly there are two main costing parameters. One is the labor cost, and another the equipment and tooling. uh, Suppose you are using same M20 for all your assembly purpose for all the components, so the labor equivalent and tooling cost will get reduced. Also the labor can do fast. Okay, so only M20, so you don't have to think much. Okay, next is the overhead. Overhead includes supporting staff and indirect allocation. So if your component manufacturing and assembly is very simple, the number of supervisors needed will be less. So indirectly overhead cost will go on reducing. Additionally, if your design is very simple, you don't need high-end equipments to measure at every stage whether your assembly is correct or not. So a manufacturing cost of a product includes one is the component cost, assembly cost, and overhead cost. So component cost is part purchased from the supplier, customized part made at manufacturing own plant or by supplier according to the manufacturing design specification. Assembly cost, labor, equipment, tooling. Overhead cost, all other costs like material handling, equivalence, assurance, purchasing, shipping, receiving facility, etc. Indirect allocation, not directly linked to the particular product, but will be paid to for to be in the business. So indirect allocation is also more important. Okay, so always remember, a complete product we cannot do each and part component at our own factory. Okay, as a manufacturer I cannot do all the parts, so I have to do, okay, more important parts I'll manufacture, maximum parts I'll get uh, from this standard suppliers. So if you consider Maruti, as it's going more than 15,000 to 20,000 parts, it may be producing really maybe chassis and the top sheet metal only. All other parts, seats and all these parts are supplied by standard suppliers only. Okay, so they will just do the fittings. Next, when I'm doing the costing parts, there are two costs. One is the fixed cost and variable cost. So fixed cost is incurred predetermined amount regardless of number of units produced. Setting up factory area, cost of injection mold, all this. These are the fixed costs like machine cost. All this is a fixed cost. Variable indirect incurred in direct proportion the number of units produced. For example, raw material. So how many you are producing, the cost of raw material go on increasing. So how I can reduce the cost of the component? Now the cost of the component can be reduced by understanding the process constraint and the cost drivers. Okay, so we will see all these steps one by one. Redesign the component to eliminate the process steps. Third, choose the appropriate economic scale for part process. Standardize components and processes. Adhere to black box component procurement. Okay, so these are the 5 steps which you can follow to reduce the cost of component. So first one is understand the process constraint and cost drivers. Redesign the costly parts with the same performance while avoiding high manufacturing cost. Work closely with the design engineer, raise the awareness of difficult operation and high cost. So you can see this is a simple spanner. So in the first design, how much it is complicated. Okay, so this spring is there, this arrangement again just for doing a small pin or holding it, it has design. But if you see the new design, it is very simple. Okay, so what will happen, this will take less cost uh, for manufacturing. Also from maintenance point of view, it is less maintenance. If you see spring here, if anything got stuck, it will have problem. So even from tomorrow maintenance point of view, it is very important. So the next step is redesign the component to eliminate the process steps. Now this will include reduce the number of steps per production process, will usually result in reduction in the cost. Eliminate unnecessary steps. Use subsequent substitution steps wherever applicable, and analyze the tool, both the process flow charts and value stream mapping. For this example, if you see in the first part, this there are three components involved. So this is the one part, this is the second, and then they are screwed together so that this complete assembly happens. Now this can be redesigned. Okay, so I have to first machine this one, then machine, then there will be a proper interference fit, and then it should be locked. And if there is no proper clearance, again it may have problem. Okay, it may not fit, it may be slightly difference will be there. So to avoid this, I can change this one to this complete process. So it can be either machined from a big part, or I can do simple forging operation if it is in a mass quantity, and then do the final machining operation. Okay, so this will not only change the process of manufacturing, it will also help you to reduce the cost heavily. Next is choose the appropriate economic scale of parts. Okay, economic scale of part, as the production volume increases, manufacturing cost usually decreases. Fixed cost divided among more units. Variable costs are lower since the firm can be more efficient process and equipment. So this is the graph of cost per unit against the output. If you see they are producing 30,000 parts, the the cost is 30,000 per unit if they are producing 10,000 components. If the components cost is reduced to almost half if the number of components produced are increasing. How this happens is because the fixed cost will get divided among the number of parts you are producing. For example, if you are taking a CNC machine for 50 lakhs, and yearly if you are producing only 100 parts, so you can see for each part 5 lakhs divided by 100, that much amount is going. Okay, but if instead of just so many thousands, if you produce more than 50 lakhs or 1 crore, the cost of the fixed cost of the machine is negligible compared to the parts produced. Also the variable cost can be reduced. If you are producing in mass, the cost of raw material will get reduced because the amount of volume you are purchasing. Okay, also the labor cost will get reduced. Okay, inspection cost will get reduced because if you are doing mass production, you can do a simple jigs and fixture, so that inspection will be fast. The cost of inspection will get reduced heavily. Next is standardize the component and process. Economic of scale, the unit of the cost of component decreases as the production volume increases. That what we saw is the last slide. Then the standard component common to more than one product. Analyze the tool, group, technology and mass customization. So what standard components? So all this whichever available easily in the market done by different supplier. If you use standard nut and bolts, standard fittings, okay, the overall cost of your component will get reduced without compromising on the quality of the product. Now what do you mean by group technology and mass customization? See, this is a simple example of tailoring. So you know we got like size M, small size, 42, 40, 44, XL, all these are got standardized. Okay, so there is a process so where they are using group technology and mass customization. So mass customization, for example, so a person with M is fitting in M41 or anything above between 40 and 42 size, they will be using directly 42 size. Okay, anyone between having say size 43, he has to go for 44. So you are reducing the number. So like this same we have in small, medium, XL, double XL. So in between whoever coming, they have to go to the next product. So that is nothing but group technology and mass customization. The next is adder to black box component procurement. This is very important. So black box only give a description of what the component has to do, not how to achieve it. A successful black box design recovers clear definition of the function, interface, and interaction of each component. Okay, so simple. I have taken a simple cube, and I will, as a purchase manager, I will say, okay, I need a cube of 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter. So in simple terms, it may be a cube made up of only lines, or it can be made up of even sheets. Now what type of sheet you need? Suppose on this any heavy component is coming, I have to tell them, so accordingly the thickness of the sheet will be there. Okay, and if nothing is coming, I can even use the hollow sheets. Okay, or I may need some holes in this one, so proper circulation is happening because some circuits are inside this one. All this information should be given to the when you are doing any procurement or purchase. I'll give you a simple example. Okay, I can say I need some X spring for one component. Now, in sometimes the spring comes in a set, so 6 springs forms a set. Okay, so if he says I need 6 number, so we don't know whether he needs a number or he needs a set. Okay, so that should be very clear. So in generally using in today's class we have learned how much is important from manufacturing point of view and how much design is important from assembly point of view. So when we are dealing with the design for manufacturing, we have to minimize the complexity of the manufacturing, okay, and use common standard components for while designing the component. Now when you are doing the assembly, we have to minimize the number of components in the assembly. Okay, so if we can we can take 3-4 component, form into a single component by different manufacturing technique, it will be always good. And also the complexity in the design is allowed, but not the complexity in the assembly. Okay, so assembly should be as simple as possible. So once the product is assembly, we can come when you are doing. So this is in today's class. So if you have any questions, you can either message me or you can contact me. Thank you.